what are some of the patches left in Gurgaon that people can still invest in? Because that's a burning question. Because people now are at the verge in Gurgaon that they're looking at Noida because they think Gurgaon mein kuch bacha nahi hai.
There is no logic for an obnoxious 25,000 square feet price. So if I look at Gold Extension Road, I'm still not able to absorb that why somebody will pay 20,000 rupees square feet a price in that locality. The public transport is in bad shape. The planning is not that great. If there are 2 days of rains, it's gonna kill the whole commute system.
As per your opinion, what would be the next HubSpots that people can look for? Where they can invest, where they can take an entry at the right price point, and tomorrow, when let's say they see these properties 5 years, 10 years down the line, they can see good capital appreciation there. Hi guys, welcome to Annum Money podcast again. And today we again have Amarendra with us. He has already been on the podcast before. If you remember, we did one video around how Amarendra has built his wealth through passive income and by investing in real estate. Now, idea behind today's podcast is to understand the Delhi NCR real estate market very deeply. What are some of the opportunities that are still available for a common man where they can invest? What are some of the HubSpots and also some of the history so that you can grasp some learnings out of it? So stay tuned, watch this podcast till the end to grab the maximum benefit out of it. Hi, Amrinder. How are you?
Hi Vishwas. Thanks for having me.
I think the last podcast, a lot of people in the comments also said that, they do want such type of content because a common man like you, that too in 2011 when you just started your job, right? You first investment that you made was, in an apartment.
Right.
And most people generally don't do that. And your track record is someone जिन्होंने 100% achieve किया है. None of your property has been, जो कि appreciate नहीं करी है या तो capital appreciation wise या फिर जिसका rental yield अच्छा ना हो. Maximum of your portfolio. So I'll put, Amarindra's portfolio here. And what you will see within that portfolio is that maximum of your investments have been in Noida. In which year did you come to Noida?
2011.
So 2011, this has been 14 years. So what, I would first like to understand. So this is the first region, guys, of Delhi NCR, which we're going to cover. That is Noida, because obviously Gurgaon is one of those areas which, let's say, has been booming a lot and it's already very expensive. So can you walk me through Noida? Like what was Noida like in 2011 and what is the evolution you've seen in Noida over the years?
So 2011, when I landed up in Noida, I was based out of Bangalore. 2011, I moved from Bangalore to Delhi, to be precise, Noida. And when I landed up, you won't find a high-rise apartment, especially in Noida. It was only Indrapuram or maybe some old CGHS societies around Sector 62, 63. That was the whole of the apartment, so to say. Two locations were popping up. One was Central Noida, which was typically starting from Sector 71 to Sector 78. So 73, 74, so on and so forth. We call it Central Noida. Another was Noida Extension, which is very closer to Noida and also contains some sort of land from Greater Noida as well. So due to administrative and geographical distribution within that ambit, it was Greater Noida West / Noida Extension. So these were the two localities that were popping up. Noida, to be precise, that Central Noida, it was typically hovering in a range of 3,500 rupees per square feet to 5,000 rupees square feet. So the reputed developers were selling at 4,500, 4,700 change. A mid-tier developer was selling at around 3,500, 3,600, 3,700. That was the rate. Apparently, if you move 4 kilometers ahead from Central Noida, because the Noida Extension, the higher density area in Noida Extension and the Central Noida has a 3.5, 4 kilometer distance in between. It was selling at around 2,500 bucks to 3,500 bucks. So the upper tier would be 3,500, 3,600. The lower tier would be 2,500 square feet. These were the two clusters that were coming up. Central Noida, since it was part of the Noida in overall scheme of things, you won't find that Central Noida is very organized. So you won't find a very, very wide road to absorb all the audiences that is residing out there. But since Noida Extension was built on a plain barren piece of land, so it was a great planning, so to say, that here the high rise will come, the residential apartment will come. These are the localities for your educational institutions. These are the localities for hospitals. These are the commercial zones, so on and so forth. So everything was pretty planned. You find all the roads are typically 130 meters. A lot of arterial roads you will find inside that. So it was well planned. That was the structure. But when I landed up in 2011, Noida Extension was a plain barren land with a lot of brokers sitting
Right.
inside a tent or a canopy
Right.
selling the project because everything was just getting started.
Now, in particularly in Noida, which are, let's say, because obviously the most popular areas of Noida, for example, Sector 62, 58, and all of these big sectors
Yeah.
have already gone to a level similar to what Gurgaon has seen, right? As per your opinion, what would be the next hub spots that people can look for? Where they can invest, where they can take an entry at the right price point, and tomorrow, when let's say they see these properties 5 year, 10 years down the line, they can see good capital appreciation there.
So, especially if you talk about that Noida Greater Noida clusters, the Delhi Meerut Expressway starting from that 63 to another 3.5, 4 kilometer patch. That's a good hotspot in my consideration because of the connectivity. Because so for an example, you have two projects coming up on that Delhi Meerut Expressway, Bank to
Hmm.
Siddharth, where one is launched by Prestige, which is the largest developer of the south, very good track record. Another has been launched by Prateek, and Siddharth, we are already there. So from a connectivity standpoint, it just take 20 minutes for you to reach CP or
Hmm.
the central Delhi from that particular location. It's no signal, nothing, wide road, expressway. So while the distance is 20 kilometers between the central Delhi to that Siddharth Vihar, but it takes barely 15-17 minutes for you to reach there. So that's one thing that I would be keen at. Another is that that rapid metro, which is now on
Hmm.
the verge to come up from Meerut to Delhi. It's gonna take typically 45 minutes for you to commute from there to here. So both the sides of that road will see a good development.
Hmm.
And I am pretty bullish in terms of sector 63 T point, which is your Siddharth Vihar, so to say,
Hmm.
to till another 8-10 kilometers on that road. So that's a good place to be in.
Are there any projects of any developers that you see have already started, or let's say you are looking at in terms of analyzing that, yes, these are the ones I would consider if, let's
So
say, I were to
Prestige
invest?
is what I'm evaluating as of now. The
Okay.
location is bang on the Delhi Meerut Expressway. That's typically a kilometer distance from the 63 metro station, which is
Hmm.
typically the commercial and IT hub now. You can expect a good rental yield also from that particular location and even the price of it.
Apart from this, so Noida Extension is still, let's say, a lot of people still look at Noida Extension, one of
Yes.
those areas where they also want to invest, where they also go for a lot of still rental gentry goes there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen people living in Gaur city at 15,000 rent monthly in 3 BHKs and
Yeah.
good 3 BHKs,
Yeah.
very spacious
Yeah.
3 BHKs. But I also see a lot of empty land in Noida Extension. So, where do you think what is next for Noida Extension? And if, let's say, somebody were to enter that market in even in 2025, is it the right price point or is it already inflated?
So prices are already inflated even in Noida Extension. If you just look at Noida Extension as a whole, so there is a Gaur's, we call it a Gaur city center, which is the first turnabout. Another, if you move further half a kilometer, there is another Gol Chakkar, what to
Hmm.
call it. So I mean, these two, three action-packed places are already full.
Hmm.
You can't find anything in fresh because there is no land available.
Right.
But eventually, since the amenities and the kind of vicinity that has been created for the people, I mean, you need not to go out of that. So, just to an example, you will find five multiplexes within a kilometer of three in Noida Extension
Hmm.
in 5 malls.
Right.
You will find four multi-specialty hospitals in a periphery of 4 kilometers in Noida Extension. You will
Hmm.
find 8-10 great schools,
Hmm.
all affiliated to CBSE and a great infrastructure. That is pushing a lot of buyers to purchase in Noida Extension or even so to say go stay on rent and then eventually decide to purchase. Now the next hub in Noida Extension is Sector 12, wherein you have Shobha coming up, which is the largest developer of South. You have Godrej coming it up. They purchased that land, and the prices are typically hovering between 11 to 12,000 rupees per square feet. So that's as good as a property on a Dwarka expressway. So the rates are
Hmm.
more or less 500,000 rupees per square feet delta, but more or less similar.
And any commercial opportunities that you see in commercial real estate, specifically in Noida, where you would like to invest in?
I mean, if you have an appetite to grab a large parcel,
Hmm.
maybe to the tune of 3 to 5,000 square feet commercial space, then
Hmm.
it makes sense. Or else,
Right.
Noida has been flooded with a lot of commercial real estate when the developers has created a small shops or a small
Hmm.
offices,
Right.
300-400 square feet.
Right.
So at the time of purchase, it looks very tempting.
Hmm.
You are getting a commercial estate at 15 lakh, 17 lakh.
Hmm.
But eventually, post handover, it's very difficult for you to get a tenant out of it because that's a so small space,
Hmm.
nobody want to look at.
Right.
So if you want to invest in real estate and if you have an appetite to get at least a minimum 2000 square feet, which is good for an anchor brand to come and take it for a longer term on lease, then it makes sense. But with a smaller patch, I wouldn't recommend anybody to explore
Right. Right.
unless it's a society shop.
What other regions of NCR, let's say, you feel have a lot of potential? Any random picks, let's say, that you have?
So Gurgaon is pretty much on the radar.
Hmm.
That's shaping up well now
Right.
after a lot of struggle. There are good patches in Gurgaon which anybody can look off. Some patches there are skyrocketing price which you just can't afford.
Hmm.
But there are some patches still left that anybody is looking to purchase. They
So,
can
what
still.
are some of the patches left in Gurgaon that people can still invest in? Because that's a burning question. Because people now are at the verge in Gurgaon that they're looking at Noida because they think Gurgaon mein kuch bacha nahi hai.
If you look at the map of Gurgaon, I would look at it in a three pockets. So there is one pocket which is Golf Course Extension Road, Sector
Right.
58 to Sector 67. Another patch is your Dwarka Expressway,
Right.
which is starting from Sector 111 to 37D, or from that side is 37D to 111.
Hmm.
The another is New Gurgaon, which is
Right.
81 to 95. These are
Hmm.
the sellable sectors that's there. Now the Golf Course Extension Road is technically unaffordable.
Hmm.
58 to 67, you can't find any damn project less than 4.5 crores,
Right.
because the rates are typically hovering between 18,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees per square feet.
Hmm.
The second cluster is your Dwarka Expressway, which is sector 37D to 111. That's still okay. I mean, if uh, husband and wife both are working and then they are making a decent chunk of
Yeah,
money,
but
they
that
can
has
just.
also gone up 2x, 3x.
Yeah, so that's still okay because the prices are still in a range of 13,000 to 15,000 rupee per square feet.
Hmm.
And considering Gurgaon being Gurgaon, because of the FAR
Yeah, this
regions,
can go till same 25,000 square
24,
feet,
25 it will
5,000
go.
square feet. Yeah.
The third cluster is your new Gurgaon, which is 81 to 95. So that's still affordable because the prices are
Hmm.
still sub 10k. 10, 11,000 rupee per square feet is the price. So that's same as you get in Noida. And that's one patch which I would be very aggressive if I have plans to purchase a property or even to invest. Because
Hmm.
ultimately, at some moment, the mid-tier service class won't be able to afford Dwarka Expressway and Golf Course Extension Road. So the only patch to purchase is New Gurgaon, which is sector 81 to 95.
Right.
So eventually the prices will explode here also in another 3 to 5 years. But at this entry time, it looks good.
Gurgaon, I think, is pretty much clear. Apart from Noida, Gurgaon, Delhi, obviously, there is nothing. Any other areas that you see, that has a lot of potential coming up?
So that Delhi Merit Expressway, we
Hmm.
can call it technically a Ghaziabad patch.
Which is on the belt of Vasundhara, Indrapuram. So
Yep,
it's
yep,
it's
yep.
very straight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very straight. The reason why Dwarka Expressway is exploding because of that connectivity.
Ghaziabad, I would say, is the underrated,
Yes, yes.
spot which a lot of people don't look at, because if you go to places like Indrapuram, if you go to places like Vasundhara, the development that has happened there has not even
Mm,
happened at some places in Gurgaon or
yeah,
even in
yeah,
Noida. And a lot of working class is there.
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
see a lot of working class
Yes,
which
yes.
prefers Indrapuram over
Yep.
even Noida.
Because of that connectivity.
Yeah,
Because you are just bang on the Delhi Merit Expressway and then 20-25 minutes you are in
right.
CBD area of the city. So that's a good patch to work. And with the metro and the corridor that they are building
Right.
between Meerut to Delhi, I think this area will fly. Already there are a few developers who started the work on that patch, so it will fly.
Nothing on Faridabad. How do you see Faridabad?
Somehow I haven't seen that kind of development which was
Expected
expected
out of
while
Faridabad.
being a strategically located at an
Hmm.
intersection of Noida and Gurgaon. This area would have been worked really, really well for all of us. So,
Hmm.
assuming if I am working in Gurgaon, I would love to stay at a Goal Pehadi rather than on a golf course extension. If my office is on MG Road,
Yeah.
maybe 2-3
Yeah,
kilometers
yeah.
around MG Road.
Gwalpadi is one of the finest roads of Gurgaon.
Yeah,
People don't realize that because it is so well connected through
yeah.
the entire Gurgaon.
Yeah. So, but the development hasn't happened on that lane, and
Yeah.
people are not even able to realize that there is a location which has a great connectivity, great
Right.
infra. So, Faridabad, I am not very optimistic. Maybe a political reason or whatsoever that they are, but the development is still stalled.
Yeah, so this is one very interesting point, and this is something which, let's say, in every asset class, this is very important, is the exit. In real estate, how do you, let's say, analyze an exit, or do you see an exit? Because there is also a rental coming in, right? So, how do you, let's say, plan for exit, or should there be an exit in real estate? Because if, let's say, you have invested in a property which is, let's say, growing even in 10, 15, 20 years, it is still appreciating. So, why would you, let's say, sell it? And there is also a logic of capital gains tax, which is pretty high in India. So how do you see exit in real estate?
I look at it in three stages.
Hmm.
One exit would be that pure investor led, that I just want to rotate my money. So I'll put in some money, got a project, and the moment I got a handover or a possession letter, I'll exit with a 60-70% appreciation. That's one exit. Another exit would be 10 years down the line after taking the handover.
Hmm.
Because once you took the handover, you incurred a cost of 6%, 6.5% in terms of registry and legal charges. Now you need to hold that for 5-6 years to accumulate a slightly higher, because there is a saturation point for all the projects. So they'll go and they'll saturate at a peak point. So you want to exit at that moment. So 5 year to a 15-year horizon is a good horizon for an exit standpoint. If you have a holding capacity, the good tenure would be 10 years from the day you have given the first check to the developer. You will be at a moderately high price. You got roughly around 120-130% of the yield. That's a good way to exit at it. And even from an indexation benefit also now, with after 2024, wherein you can't take that indexation advantage,
Right.
and the capital gain is typically now at, I mean, I look at a total thing, it's a 14.95%. So 12.5% is your LTCG plus 15% is surcharge and 4% is the cess. So 14.95% is your capital gain. So 5 year to 15 year at a good horizon to sell it.
I have some quick questions. So these might seem like rapid fire. You can take your time in order to, let's say, give a long answer also, and maybe a short pointer also. So which is the next Gurgaon? Where should people invest now before prices explode?
New Gurgaon.
Which location in Delhi NCR do you regret not investing in earlier?
Golf course extension road.
How do you identify an area before it becomes a real estate hotspot?
Look at master plan of the authorities.
What's better, investing in under construction properties or ready to move in homes?
Always in under construction.
Is Delhi NCR market in a bubble, or is this the right time to invest?
In bubble.
Why do you say that?
So there is no logic for an obnoxious 25,000 square feet pricing. So if I look at Golf Course Extension Road, I mean, I am still not able to absorb that why somebody will pay 20,000 rupees square feet a price in that locality.
Right.
The public transport is in bad shape. The planning is not that great. I mean, if there are 2 days of rains, it's gonna kill the whole commute system. These sectors are not even planned. New Gurgaon or maybe Dwarka Expressway, that is still being developed on a plain barren land. So you have sewer, you have water, you have community, you have social infrastructure. These areas doesn't have, but still there are prices.